Welcome back to Banama Today, still with me, Tamina Kauji, and thanks for joining us still. And now I have in the house with me Alexander Shambly, who is a lifestyle travel documentary filmmaker. Now that does sound like a mouthful, but I think Alexander here would be the best person to tell us what it's all about. And he is actually the creator and producer for the exclusive resorts and day spas. Hello Alexander, how are you today?
I'm fine, Tamina. Pleasure to be here with you.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here. So Alexander, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into the line that you are currently in?
Okay, well, my story, it's not a complex story, Tamina. What actually happened, my background was primarily in radio and fashion.
Right, I see. Okay.
And what actually happened, I was asked to bring a fashion line from Spain to Australia.
Okay.
Where I spent a large majority of my time. A designer by the name of Adolfo Domingue. So when we brought this range to Australia, it was covered by a Spanish TV crew.
I see.
And of course, with having had the background in fashion, he asked me, well, fashion, makeup, it all fits together. Would you be interested in doing a segment about spas?
Right.
So I did the segment on his show about spas. And then I went back to the USA and met some network people from the Cox Media Network. And they said, you know, if you could put a half-an-hour documentary together about resorts and spas, you'd have your own program. And here I am now, 13 years later.
Oh wow, all right. So that was a chance occurrence really, and that led to you doing what you do today. Now, what would you say are some of the filming destinations around the world where you've had the chance to film that have been truly memorable?
Okay, well, there have been quite a few.
I'm sure.
However, I think one of our more recent documentaries was in Japan,
right?
Where I had an opportunity to learn about the geisha, as they call it in Kyoto, the maiko and the geiko. Also, I would have to say in Singapore with the huge mega structure hotel, Marina Bay Sands,
right?
Which is something that I think you would be familiar with in this region. And most recently, we were commissioned to help the victims of the disaster in Ecuador with the earthquake.
Right, I see.
So we've done a deluxe travel documentary featuring major hotels, iconic destinations, and some of the memorabilia there in Ecuador and Galapagos Island.
Right, wow, that sounds like so many exotic locations, and you've got everything. You've got the fashion side, the architecture. Now I hear that we've actually got a video to be playing, and let's check that out first so that our viewers can get a small taste of what is it that Alexander and his crew actually do.
In the long-standing mystical Arabian culture, a new legend begins in the Middle East, Raffles, Dubai. On arrival, you will be warmly welcomed into the lobby with a beautiful waterfall, which begins your journey of the Raffles Dubai experience.
Hello and welcome to Dubai's latest iconic destination, Raffles Dubai. Let's have a look inside.
The opulent pyramid structure has been designed for the privileged traveler when visiting Dubai. The essence of the experience lies in its elegant 248 suites, 11 dining venues, and a spa that offers, yes, 24-karat gold treatments. The Arabian suite, similar in design, finds its roots deep in Arabian culture. The bedrooms are both cozy and opulent, with beautiful furnishings.
From our launch in Dubai, Raffles will be in every Middle Eastern country in this region where there is prospect of growth and business. The first priority will be to have...
Wow. Now I must say that I think you've shot at some of the most exclusive locations. But Alexander, what's the difference between shooting at, let's say, a 5-star hotel and a resort? And which do you prefer, if so?
Well, what you've just seen was a piece that we did roughly about 5 years ago.
Right.
And that was affiliated with the Dubai World Cup, which is a very well-known brand by the name of Raffles. Now, Raffles tend categorically to be an urban hotel.
Right.
So when you're filming in an urban hotel, you don't have to perspire as much.
That is true. Especially because you also, as we clearly saw, you double up as not just the host but also the voiceover, so you're very hands-on.
Yes, it's quite a job, but that's the way we like it, to ensure that we're getting the marketing philosophy and points which the clients would like. When you're filming in the jungle, whether I'm in the Amazon, say at a luxury lodge, or perhaps here in your very own Borneo, it's a very, very different sort of concept. So I try to manage them as best we can, but I feel that there are different challenges, hopefully with gratifying and great results.
Right, absolutely. Now I must ask you about the tourism industry, since Malaysia is also a hub and we also depend a fair bit economy-wise on tourism and how it's going on within the country. What would you say are some of the key components of ensuring that there is a healthy tourism industry in a country?
Well, in tourism, each country has your retail sector,
right,
and you have your business sector. It is in actuality when those two work cohesively that you're able to get the end result of having a great tourism business.
Right.
Now, in my opinion, since I have been here in Malaysia, for an example, you have a great culinary scene. There's the Indian, there's Malay, there's the Chinese.
Absolutely. Malaysians are just food lovers, I would say.
Yes, and of course now it has been found that not only your high-end market, which we primarily cater for,
right,
are now including the culinary cuisine as part of their destination journey.
Right.
So I would feel that when you can get those two sectors working together, and of course incorporating your luxury hotels and your luxury resorts, and also too here in Malaysia I see there's a vast amount of development happening.
That
so
is right.
I think with all the new sort of residences that are coming up now, and the way that real estate is starting to boom as well too, all of these factors definitely contribute to a great tourism industry.
All right, thank you for that. Now moving on from the luxury end of it and the resorts, you also did mention the earthquake documentary that your team has just finished filming in Ecuador. Tell us a little bit about your experience being, in that sense, in a disaster zone as opposed to the usual rather calm and serene outlook that you are used to filming.
Well, first and foremost, our hearts definitely went out to the victims' families of that devastating earthquake that happened in Ecuador. But fortunately enough, we were able to work with the Ecuador Board of Tourism, and we thought that we would do something a little different. We would do a deluxe travel documentary, because when I spoke with them, they said, look, we would prefer not to have sort of any pity. We would like to sell our luxury hotels and our luxury resorts. So we did that. We filmed a few of the iconic destinations, such as the Hombre, which is the museum by Mr. Wasserman. We also did La Campagna, which is basically a 23-karat gold church. So,
oh, wow, all right.
So it was very interesting.
How interesting. Yeah, I'd never heard of that before.
Yes, it's a beautiful 23 leaf gold church, and it's one of the most ornate churches in Ecuador.
Right.
And we tie that in with Galapagos Island as well too, where there's all kinds of beautiful wildlife.
Of course.
And some surprises that you will see with extraordinary lodges. Some of them are rented in the neighborhood of US 20,000 per week and upwards. So it's
right. So absolutely 6-star and
everything.
above then.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
But most importantly, the whole concept and the idea behind it was to bring revenue back to Ecuador, because Ecuador now is up and moving, and when you see this travel documentary, I think you'll say, well, hopefully that's a place that you'd like to travel to. Right.
Okay. Now, moving from Ecuador back to Malaysia, I must ask you, Alexander, so where in Malaysia would you think, from what you know of the country so far, would be suitable for this kind of high-end travel luxe documentary making?
Well, the great thing about Malaysia, you are very blessed, because you have regions everywhere. I have been in Borneo before, and there are luxury lodges in Borneo. We were most recently in Port Dickson.
Right.
There are beautiful resorts there. Not only am I doing the travel documentary, but I'm doing a high-end documentary about the leading presidential suites of the world.
Wow.
And we
right.
have been able to catch one or two here, which you will see up and coming as well too.
Okay.
As I talked about with you a little bit before, the food is just so beautiful here. As a matter of fact, it's getting me up in the gym a little bit earlier every morning now.
All right. We're glad to hear you're enjoying your Malaysian food.
I definitely enjoy the Malaysian food. And the resorts and hotels are just fabulous as well too. Your automotive industry is also flourishing as well. So we feel that with this travel documentary, we're going to cover a vast area of Kuala Lumpur and all of the surrounding regions as well.
Right. Okay, that's great to know. And let's say if anyone out there is tuning into us right now and perhaps they run an exclusive destination location, who could they get in touch with perhaps if they are also interested to get their location on the map, luxury travel wise?
Well, certainly, whether they be high-end products or luxury resorts, residences, or people in the real estate industry, I think it would be probably easiest to contact us or to contact yourself, and you could refer them on to us through our website, which has a relatively long name. So if you're happy to refer that on, or if you just Google exclusive resort and day spas.
Right. Okay. So there you go. So in the backdrop, we're also playing a short clip that, if you would mind telling us what it's about, Alexander.
Okay, as I'm looking here, a few years ago, we were commissioned to produce an airline commercial for Royal Brunei Airlines.
Right, I see. Lovely.
And this is the Empire Hotel in Brunei. That's the Royal Brunei Golf Course. And we showed various regions around the area, such as Borneo here, which included 2 of your 5-star hotels. And it was just a wonderful opportunity to feature Royal Brunei Airlines. And to my knowledge, from time to time hear that the airline is trading better than ever before.
Wow, I can definitely see that. You know, it is something that is done quite differently from the way advertising is also done. Now, what would you say is changing about the way in which luxury services as well as properties market themselves to the target consumers?
Okay, well, with technology being a very prominent part of life for all of us today, social media has become very important.
Oh, absolutely. It's number one. That's why you've got TripAdvisor and such services becoming the go-to even before you go to the hotel website.
Yes, absolutely. And also, we find that when we're filming various resorts now, they have specific demands. These clients now, they know exactly what they want. They know their philosophy. They know their target market. So that helps my crew when we go in to exactly put our finger on the pulse to enhance their philosophy. But I would have to say, in answering your question, definitely the social media is very important. The online marketing is very important. As you see, YouTube is a very big thing now as well too.
Right, it's so powerful these days. Right.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think if you can touch in all of those areas and plus distribute in major networks around the world, that would certainly give you global appeal. And with our networks, we do a fair few and cover most bases: Europe, Asia, America, Middle East, with our distribution.
Okay, now thank you so much for your time today, Alexander. It's been lovely chatting with you. All the best in everything that you do.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure. Now thanks for joining us so far. We'll cut to a quick commercial break, and when we're back, more news, more views and interviews together with Elaine Abdullah. Stay with us.